Hyundai has had one of the biggest impacts on the automotive sector in recent history. And it all began with Albert Biermann of BMW's M division, and he was poached very smartly by Hyundai, and he did a lot of wonderful things, but one of the good things he really did was form Hyundai's N division. And if you look at Hyundai's N models, Elantra N, i30 N, Kona N, all the different Ns, if you look at them and the technology and the aesthetics, it's all very BMW M. You've got that N button. You've got all these different modes. You've got the theatricality, right? That's what the Germans do so well. AMG, Audi, BMW. I owned a BMW, right? I've got a GR Yaris now. What those Germans do really well is that theatricality. When you get into an M car, you've got all these different modes and things, and it really comes alive. And that same aesthetic and design language has gone into Hyundai's N models. And that's why Hyundai has made such a great impact on enthusiasts around the world, guys. It's really changed how we see Hyundai, where just in recent history, it's become a car that's competing with juggernauts, heavyweights in the industry, Honda Civic Type R, Corolla GR, Yaris GR, Volkswagen Golf GTI Golf R, A35 AMGs. You've got the BMW M135i or M135 xDrive, Audi S's. These are all cars that are cross-shopping or being cross-shopped against Hyundai's N models. And, go back a decade, that very idea would sound preposterous. Hyundai has been able to do all of this while being priced quite low. Especially if you go into the used car market, you can pick up these Hyundai N models very cheaply, guys. And at the price point, often they're outperforming the likes of the GR Corolla or the GR Yaris. And of course, it is loved and adored by enthusiasts because of the exhaust. I love my pops and bangs, and one of the things I miss from my BMW coming in the GR Yaris is the fact that I've got an exhaust that no longer pops and bangs. And I loved my burble exhaust on the BMW, just stock. You put it in Sports Plus, you downshift, and you got the Symphony, the burbles. It was fun. And Hyundai has been able to take that, right, learnings from BMW, and it's implemented it in the N models. However, are Hyundai's N's reliable? Where do they sit, right? Because on my page, I try to put everything in perspective for you guys. I try to say, look, German cars kind of sit here reliability-wise, and then you've got Toyota and Honda, but then sometimes it depends on the model. So where does the Hyundai N, the Elantra N, all of these N models, where do they sit? Let's get into it. Now, first of all, the N model uses Hyundai's turbo 2-liter G4KH engine, and it's effectively a Theta 2 engine. If you know anything about Theta 2 engines, you will know that it doesn't really have the best reputation out there. Now, this engine is quite revised, but the Theta 2s that it's based on, they don't have the greatest reputation, especially in North America. There's speculation as to what caused it, but many say that there were some manufacturing defects. They left metal shavings, which caused engines to blow up, spin their bearings. And there's lawsuits. There's lawsuits and replacements, and there's a lot of impacts. And a lot of people do not enjoy Hyundai products, early generations especially, because of the reputation of the Theta 2 motors. And it's funny because in Australia, Hyundai has had a really good reputation for, I would say, for the last 8 or 9 years. As a broad analysis, I would say in Australia, it goes Toyota, and probably Honda, Mazda, Suzuki, those sorts of good brands. And then it's probably the South Koreans, guys, Hyundai and Kia. They have a really good reputation above the Germans in Australia. And the good thing about the N models, guys, is these Theta 2 engines are quite revised. They've got these nice turbos, very updated, 9.5:1 compression ratio, 250 to 280 horsepower, depending on the model you go with. And then obviously you've got 350 to about 400 newton meters of torque, depending on the model you go with. And they are designed for some track duty as well. Now, I will say one thing I always tell enthusiasts is all of these performance cars, the Civic Type R, the Golf GTIs, Golf Rs, these Hyundai Ns, the GRs, the manufacturers say that they can take track duty, but you have to be really careful because they aren't race cars. They are a blend, right? So they try to give you the best of both worlds, where they make compromises for the road and then give you a bit of a compromise for the track as well. What that really means is, yes, you can track these cars, but stay within your limits. It's not a race car. You can't go to the track and just do lap after lap in high heat situations or in high Gs and just think that the car is going to be okay. Even a full-on race car is not going to be okay with that. You have to manage the car. And F1 drivers do it with their full-on race cars, right? Those guys are managing tires, they're managing brakes, they're managing the transmission, they're managing their engine modes. It's just how it works. So don't think just because a manufacturer said that this car is a sports car or it can do track duty, don't think that it's actually going to go ahead and do that lap after lap and, week after week. So be a bit careful, be a bit mindful of that perspective. Okay, now that I've said all that, what are the common issues, guys? Well, number one issue is fuel injector failure. And you'll find this out if you start a car and it's misfiring, or the idle is a bit wonky, or it sometimes can't make good power, or you see smoke coming out of the exhaust. Now, fuel injector issues can also cause carbon buildup. The good thing is it happened on earlier models, and it was all done under warranty by Hyundai. No issues, no questions asked. Some of the early models also had high pressure fuel pump issues, also resolved under warranty. Now, another issue is with the 8-speed DCT transmission. The transmission is really solid, really good, jerky, and can be rough. And that's a characteristic of all dual clutch transmissions. But the issue here, guys, is some of these cars were really rough, not shifting right, and there's a technical bulletin for this, where if you're having these issues and you get a code, Hyundai will update the TCU, the transmission control unit. Now, very rarely do they actually need to replace the transmission. Now, another issue is sometimes if you take your car to a car wash, a pressure wash, or if it's raining really heavily, water can get into the engine bay and impact your engine knock sensor. Now, often this is a pretty interesting one because, there's rare cases here and there, and it looks like Hyundai don't quite know how to deal with it, because some dealerships have actually started to replace engines because of this, and others recognize that it's a sensor issue. Either way, what I would say to mitigate this issue is try not to use a heavy spray car wash, right? And I apply that to all of my cars, guys. The automatic car washes that spray your car intensely, I think you need to avoid those. And even with pressure washer, just be a bit mindful around your engine. Now, a lot of Hyundais had their clutch discs installed backwards. It's funny, pre-2021, I believe. Again, dealers know it's an issue. They'll sort it out. In fact, I think most Hyundais you buy, that'll have it sorted out. Then there's another issue, which is octane learning. Now, a lot of cars do this. My GR Yaris limits boost based on temperature environment, based on how it's feeling, guys. It's kind of annoying. But a lot of these cars that are trying to aim for a bit of reliability do this. Now, what Hyundai does is every time you fill your fuel up, it'll try to gauge the octane level, and then it'll cut boost and reduce power until it figures out the octane level and how much power to give you. Now, owners notice that sometimes they'll fill up and that entire tank, they won't get power, and it'll go on for a while. I don't think that's a big issue because even with my GR Yaris, guys, this thing limits power based on how it's feeling on the day. You can have the intercooler pipe pop off during performance driving. Rare issue, but can happen. And then you also have squeaky exhaust. Now, this is a valved exhaust, obviously, because you've got these different modes to the exhaust that can start squeaking. Now, that happens on pretty much any valved exhaust, right? Even the BMW I had. BMWs, it's usually a clip. With this one, you just put some grease and you're good. And then finally, guys, there's a bit of squeaking or knocking. When the car is cold and you're turning and you're doing low speed turns, you'll feel some squeaking from the suspension. A lot of owners have reported this. Overall, guys, Hyundai's confirmed that it's pretty business as usual and it's quite normal. I will say that this is a pretty strong car, guys. And if I had to rank this against all the cars I talk about, guys, here's how my list would go. I would put the Honda Civic Type R on top. As far as modern day performance cars go, the K20C1 engine, the manual box, the Civic Type R, yes, it likes to overheat, guys, but that is king. Okay, so that has to be number one on top. At a second, I would probably give it to the GR Yaris and the GR Corolla. I know the USA has had engine blow-ups and all that jazz, guys, but in Australia, these cars have been so good. They're track monsters, they're mules. As far as unmodified examples go, guys, there's very rarely any problems. Yes, some transmission issues here and there, but it's a Toyota product. So I would put the GR cars at number 2. At number 3, guys, I would put the Hyundai N products. They are that good. Yes, you've got these issues that I've listed, guys, but Hyundai has done so well. Any cases that I read, it's owners being a bit uncaring to these cars, or they had modified examples, or they're running low on oil. Something's happening where you've had these massive engine issues. Overall, guys, these cars are bulletproof. And below the N models, I would put the Germans, right? The Golf GTI and R with the EA 888.4. I find very reliable. And then I would put the AMGs and the BMWs of the world as well. And then we get into Italians. That's where it sits, guys. Only issue I see with these cars, I mean, they look great as well, right? The only issue I see is often you're not going to get the street cred, right? For a lot of people that matters. But if you just care about yourself and fun behind the wheel, I will say that even with my GR Yaris, if you get into a Elantra N or i30N, the pops and bangs the fun nature of that car, I think, would even appeal to people who own Type Rs and GR Corollas, etc. So overall, guys, my rating on that car is an 8 out of 10. Hope that helped, guys. I'll catch you next time.